Yeah, 30 years in mainstream media, mostly as a nightly news reporter, comfortable doing live TV internationally. You might be thinking, what on earth does this guy really know about how I struggle going on video? I get it. I've been doing it. I've been paid to do it for many, many years now, in the crime round. And so how do I actually, what can I share with people who literally feel like their life slows down when it comes to going on video? As soon as someone tells them to start speaking or read the auto cue, they're like, their body is just trying to do everything it can to get them out of that situation. We don't like how we look and sound on video. We hate the experience of looking at a lens. It feels so foreign. We're not sure that our story is actually worth sharing. And yet they look at me and go, oh, you look so happy on video. Yeah, you're natural and comfortable and you seem all authentic, but what do you actually know about it? This is where it started for me. Back in 2001, I got my first major job. Actually, it might have been the year before, with Channel 10. For the years before that, I'd been struggling as a freelancer, as a casual. I began in 1994 as a sound recordist, made my way into my first full-time job after doing a degree at university. But friends, it wasn't enough. I landed there in this amazing role as a junior cadet news reporter for Channel 10 with no clear purpose and the weight of expectations all around me, and I struggled. I floundered for years. They gave me voice coaching. I still remember the very first live cross I ever did. It was actually right as September 11 happened, 2001, and the day after, the biggest story in Australia fell on my shoulders because all the senior reporters were covering the biggest story in the world, and which was also the biggest story in Australia, but still the collapse of one of the nation's biggest airlines, the loss of jobs for thousands of staff all around Australia. And there was Evan, all of 26 years of age, out of his depth, out of his comfort zone, and struggling to compose his thoughts. I'm just now trying to do the calculations. Was I 26? I was around that age, might have been younger. And I was wrestling with, how do I show up and just speak? I'll never forget that moment when the studio director, while doing a live cross, whispered in my ear an earpiece that I had, standing at one of the airports, domestic airports in Australia, the Ansett terminal, and hearing them count down the seconds until I was live on air. And I think with about 5 minutes to go, I just had like a huge pain in my stomach, a knot. And I think I had, with a minute to go, I think I started to literally have sweaty palms, and the doubt was in my mind. Are you going to remember the words you need to say? With about 30 seconds to go, I was starting to literally sweat. In September, I was starting to sweat, which is sort of coming out of winter for us into fall, and into spring. And I was literally starting to develop a strong belief that I was not going to be able to utter the words. 10 seconds to go, 5 seconds to go, I felt like I was on another planet. I couldn't even think properly. And I don't know how those first few words actually came out of my mouth. But friends, if you've got access to that video content, somehow, I know that Channel 10 sold off a whole lot of material a number of years ago. If you've got access to this, I would love to be able to share it with people. It was a live bit of television that would have been recorded by Channel 10, but this performance was nothing to really put on the top shelf. But I want to share it with you all. So if you know anyone who has access to that, please do reach out. But for everybody else, I want to share this vulnerable moment with you, because in the years that followed from there, I continued to show up every day doing something that was very uncomfortable, deeply uncomfortable. I had friends and family kind of squirming as we talked about my chosen career path. Now as a journo, I'd been behind the camera up until then. Now here I was in the spotlight, kind of floundering, sounding awkward, not sounding myself, sounding very uncomfortable. So friends, I can stand beside you now as a C-suite leader who has, possibly you've been media trained for many years, but still don't feel entirely comfortable. It's kind of like, I'll do it if I have to, but there's this disconnect with who you are and how you actually appear and sound on camera. And I can help you to close that gap. If you've avoided the camera up until now, I can help you to show it with comfort and authenticity and the real you, not pretending to be somebody else. I can help you to not avoid the camera altogether anymore and leave the storytelling up to somebody else, because that doesn't serve you either. The experience I had from that very first, well, it was even before the first live cross I just talked about, but it was all the way through until I really found my purpose in a particular round of journalism, the crime police round. And let me just say briefly here, because we explore it in other videos on the Unretired Reporter here, let me just say briefly that it was actually not a mentor who told me how to speak. The voice coaching and the media training and the presentation skills that I've been given didn't serve me well. They don't really serve anybody well, because they show you how to manufacture a presence online that's not really you. What does serve you well in this new media training that I coach people in is how to be themselves on video. That is the only way to really show up. That's the most efficient way to do it. That's the way to do it when you're time poor, without writing a script. How to show up as yourself on video. That's the space that I coach people in. Wherever you are in the world, wherever I am in the world, you can have access to my online coaching platform, and I will give you tailored feedback on your video content over WhatsApp to help you to show up authentically, not only on socials, but in all aspects of your personal brand. That includes how you're known internally within your company. You might have been elevated as the chief financial officer, and suddenly you're going from having to just talk about the numbers to now you've got to tell the story. You're a face of the organization. It's an uncomfortable place to be in, but how to do that authentically, I can help you with that. Yes, this is mainly focused on smartphone storytelling, how to use that device that you've got around you all the time, always within arm's reach, but how to use that to put yourself in the story, include interviews with other people, how to capture the moments that are happening around you to create broadcast quality content, yes, for social media and for internal comms, how to edit that together yourself really efficiently. That's what Project V is. Why Project V? It's not Project Video. Some people have wondered if it was that. I like to think of it as the Roman numeral V for 5, because it took me about 5 years, unnecessarily that long, to start to get more authentic. And then years after that to really move into that space more comfortably. And that's what I can help you do in as little as 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks with a bit of coaching. As you lean in and push in and trust me as your global storyteller coach, I can help you to elevate your leadership, amplify your impact, and save the 5+ years that it took me to wrestle with these issues. But I know the determination that you need, because that's what I took every single one of those days to come back into the office as a junior cadet reporter and to try again and to try again, to get it wrong again and to sound just a little bit, All of that struggle that I had can save you the same struggle. And I'd love to talk with you about amplifying your impact through the storyteller mindset. Let's talk.